So we are going to be starting a new volume, at least in my case, of Chaitanya Charitamrita. This Adi Lila, chapter 8. And so just by way of reminding everyone that when we started first chapter of Adi Lila, we talked about the book, Chaitanya Charitamrita also a little bit. So just reminding that it has 3 sections, Adi Lila, Madhya Lila, and Antya Lila.
Unbelievable.
So Adi Lila basically talks about the first 24 years of Lord Chaitanya's life, which were spent mostly in Navadvip, but for a trip to Gaya and things like that, but mostly in Navadvip. And so those pastimes of Lord Chaitanya are taken from the diary of Murari Gupta, who was an associate, a devotee of Lord Chaitanya. And then the next 6 years after Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, he spent traveling across India. So especially South India and a little bit of North India also, Vrindavan and Varanasi, etc. And those 6 years and the last 18 years, where did he spend the last 18 years of his life?
In Jagannath Puri.
In Jagannath Puri, yes. So those 24 years were noted down by Swarup Damodar, who was a very close associate of Lord Chaitanya. So he also wrote a diary. So then Raghunath Das Goswami, who was living in Jagannath Puri, along with Lord Chaitanya, when Lord Chaitanya disappeared, Raghunath Das Goswami decided that he was going to give up his life by going to Vrindavan and jumping from
Govardhan Hill.
Govardhan Hill.
Govardhan Hill.
But he met Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. They talked him out of it. They advised him to live at Radhakund and share the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya as he had heard from and received from the diaries of Murari Gupta and Swarup Damodar. So at the bank of Radhakund, Das Goswami will narrate these pastimes. And he had a very special disciple, and that's Krishnadas Kaviraj. So he heard all the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya from Raghunath Das Goswami, his spiritual master. And then Raghunath Das Goswami especially empowered him to be able to write those pastimes. So that brings us to Chaitanya Charitamrita, and that is why at the end of every chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Rupa Raghunatha Pade, and then something, whatever, some minor variations. So Rupa Goswami was his Shiksha Guru, Raghunath Das Goswami was his Diksha Guru. And of course, Diksha Goswami was also Shiksha Guru. And so he's always acknowledging their blessings to him at the end of every chapter. So now, as I said, Adi Lila, the first 12 chapters actually, basically give the background of who the 5 features of Krishna are: Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Bhaktivinoda. And in the chapters 13 to 17, childhood pastimes. Those pastimes that were not described by Vrindavan Das Thakur in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Okay, Madhumata, you are looking puzzled.
No, it's okay.
Okay, you okay?
It's okay.
Okay.
Yep.
The Madhya Lila mostly describes his travels, and especially his teachings to Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami in Varanasi, Rupa Goswami in Allahabad, or Prayagraj. And then Antya Lila mostly talks about his pastimes in Jagannath. So that's basically it. So today we're starting the 8th chapter. Okay. Any questions or comments before we get started? Okay. Oh, did I record? Yes, I've recorded. Okay, that's good. All right. So just one more thing. I don't have my correct glasses today, so I may have some difficulty reading. So bear with me if I kind of get stuck on some words. Okay. So, chapter 8, the author receives the orders of Krishna and Guru. So, who would like to read the introduction there? The first first paragraph of 8th chapter.
I can do it, Prabhu.
Oh, go ahead, Mataji.
The 8th chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is summarized by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakre in his Amrit Prabhava Bhasya. In this chapter, the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda are described. And it is also stated that one who commits offenses in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra does not achieve love of Godhead, even after chanting for many years. In this connection, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakre warns against artificial display of the bodily symptoms called astasatvika vikara. That is also an offense. One should seriously and sincerely continue to chant the Panchatattva names Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasad, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. All these acharyas will bestow their causeless mercy upon a devotee and gradually purify his heart. When he is actually purified, automatically he will experience ecstasy in chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra.
Dancing, jumping.
Previous to the composition of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakura wrote a book called Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata. Only those subjects which were not discussed by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakura in his Chaitanya Bhagavata have been taken up by the Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami to depicted in Chaitanya Charitamrita. In this very old age, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami went to Vrindavan, and by the order of Sri Madana Mohanji, he wrote Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thus, we are now able to relish its transcendental bliss.
Thank you. So, couple of main points. One is, if you are chanting offensively, then even if you chant for many, many lifetimes, you will not get the ultimate goal. What's the ultimate goal of chanting?
Krishna Prema.
Love of Goddess. Love of Goddess.
So we will not get that if we can't keep chanting offensive. That's why there's so much emphasis given on offensive chanting. So, and we'll discuss that in more detail in text 16 of this chapter. It talks more directly about that particular point. The second thing is that we should seriously and sincerely chant the Panch Tattva names. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta. So as we know, before we start any round, we chant that. But even otherwise, we should be chanting this as sincerely as possible, because it is by the mercy of these five personalities that we'll be able to chant without offenses and make progress on the path of devotional service. Okay. And then he says, all the acharyas will bestow their causeless mercy upon a devotee and purify his heart. So, which devotee? The one who's sincerely chanting the Panchatattva names. The one who's chanting unoffensively. That's the one whose heart is purified. And when it's purified, then obviously you'll experience the ecstasy. Now, experiencing the ecstasy is not our goal. Sometimes we say, oh, I'm not feeling the ecstasy. Okay, fine. As long as your mood is, oh, I'm not there yet. But if your mood is, no, that's my goal, I'm not getting it, then that is incorrect. That is not the goal. The goal is to achieve Krishna Prema, love of Krishna, and that will automatically manifest these symptoms. But you cannot do the other way around. Oh, because I'm not manifesting these ecstatic symptoms, I don't have love of Krishna, therefore I need to manifest these symptoms. And then sometimes we want to manifest these symptoms because people say, oh, what a great devotee. He's a wonderful devotee. Look at him. He's manifesting the 8 different transformations of ecstasy. So that's not the goal. Certainly trying to impress other people is really not the goal. And as a matter of fact, it's counterproductive to achieving Krishna Prema. So we have to be very careful about making sure we understand the difference between a byproduct and the end goal. Okay, and then it refers to the humility of Krishnadas Kaviraj, who does not repeat what's already been written by Vrindavan Das Thakur, saying he is my senior, who's already written it, then I don't need to rewrite it because it's not like I'm trying to say, I can do it better. Now he says, I will not even talk about this because Krishnadas Kaviraj already discussed this in the Bhagavad, and therefore move on to the next topic. That's another requirement for achieving Krishna Prem. No humility, no Krishna Prem. Okay? All right, let's do text 1 then. Text 1. Vande Chaitanya Devam Tat Bhagwan. So, I'm difficulty reading. I'll try again. Vande Chaitanya Devam Bhagwan Tam Yad Ichaya Prasabham Nartite Chitram Lekharange Jalapi Ayam. Translation. I offer my respects to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose desire I've become like a dancing dog and suddenly taken to the writing of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, although I'm a fool. So again, more humility manifested here. So Krishnadas Kaviraj is offering his respects to the Supreme Lord, Lord Chaitanya, and he's saying it is by his desire. I'm not doing it on my desire. I'm satisfying his desire. There's a huge difference. When you do something out of your desire, what is it called? When you try to satisfy your desire.
Sense gratification.
Sense gratification.
Self-gratification.
Sense gratification. You try to satisfy Krishna's desire, is devotional service. He's making this very clear. I'm doing this to satisfy. This is chapter 8, text 1. Okay. So he's saying, I'm satisfying.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Sorry.
No problem. Lord Chaitanya's desire. And how am I satisfying desire? I've become a dancing dog. Dancing dogs simply dances to the tune of the person who owns that dog. There's a verse in Charitamrita we read already. This Akala Ishwar Krishna Ar Sabu Bhatya. Jaake jaise nachaye se taiche kare. Which means Krishna is the master. Everybody else is servant. Whichever way he makes you dance, that person dances. The same thing here. I'm just a dancing dog. Whichever way my Lord wants me to dance, I'll dance. If he wants me to write this book, I'll write this book. But I'm doing this to satisfy his desire, not because it is my desire. Okay? All right, text 2. Jai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Gaura Chandra. Jai Jai Paramananda Jai Nityananda. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is known as Gaur Sundar. I also offer my respectful obeisances unto Nityanand Prabhu, who is always very joyful. Text 3. Jai Jai Advaita Acharya Kripa May. Jai Jai Gadadhar Pandit Mahashay. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Advaita Acharya, who is very merciful, and also to that great personality, Gadadhar Pandit, the learned scholar. Text 4. Jai Jai Shivas Adi Jatu Bhakta Gan. Pranakta ho ya bando sabar charan. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Shivas Thakur and all other devotees of the Lord. I fall down to offer them respect. I worship their lotus feet. So these 4 verses are basically an explanation of Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivas Adi, Gaur Bhakta. Okay. Now let's read the purport. Who wants to read it?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Oh yeah, Mataji, go ahead.
Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami teaches us, First, to offer respect to the Panchatattva Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, Gadadhar Prabhu, and Shrivas Prabhu, and other devotees. We must strictly follow the principle of offering our respect to the Panchatattva. As summarized in the mantra Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. At the beginning of every function in the preaching, especially before chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we must chant the Panchatattva name and offer our respects to them.
Right. So, as we were talking about before, it's extremely important to first chant the Panchatattva mantra before chanting Mahamantra. And again, to get the blessings and to get the purification that's made possible by these 5 personalities. Text 5. मूग कवित्व करे जा सबार स्मरणे पंगु गिरी लंघे अंधा देखे तारा गणे. Translation. By remembering the lotus feet of the Panchatattva, a dumb man can become a poet. A lame man can cross mountains. And a blind man can see the stars in the sky. Simply from remembering the lotus feet of the Panchatattva. So let's read the purport.
Read,
I will
Prabhu.
read, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Good.
Purport by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. In Vaishnava philosophy, there are 3 ways of perfection, namely Sadhana Siddha, perfection attained by executing the devotional service according to the rules and regulations. Nitya Siddha, eternal perfection attained by never forgetting Krishna at any time. And Kripa Siddha, perfection attained by the mercy of the spiritual master or in another Vaishnava. Kaviraj Goswami here stresses Kripa Siddha perfection by the mercy of superior authorities. This mercy does not depend on the qualification of a devotee. By such mercy, even if a devotee is a dumb, he can speak or write to glorify the Lord splendidly. Even if lame, he can cross mountains, and even if blind, he can see the stars in the sky.
Yeah. So some very important points being made here. One is the 3 types of siddhas or perfected people. One is called sadhana siddha. Anybody knows what sadhana siddha is?
Like the proper way of worshipping in Navdha Vidhi.
So say again. Say it again.
By the proper worshipping the deities in the Navdha Vidhi time. No?
No. Say the full sentence. By proper sadhana, do what?
That is.
Sorry. Okay. You have to. I'm sorry.
Maybe I am not. Sadhana Siddha, like who can properly worship the deities in the temple. They are the sadhana siddha people.
No. Okay. Somebody else?
So, Prabhuji, we are talking of sadhana, right? Devotees. So
Sadhana
devotees
siddha.
will follow rules and regulations as given by
Prabhuji, I'm not talking about
our
sadhana
guru.
devotees. I'm talking about sadhana siddha.
Yeah.
Not about
So
sadhaka.
those who get
Go ahead.
sadhaka,
Right.
yes.
Prabhuji, can I try? Prabhuji,
Yes,
those who
please.
can properly, with full concentration, attachment, they can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
No, it's more than that.
Prabhu,
Prabhuji, is it someone who has perfected their senses through penances?
Yes.
Sadhana?
Yes. So
Yes.
siddha means perfection. So sadhana siddhas are those who have achieved perfection simply from performing sadhana bhakti, which means they have now achieved the love of Krishna and they have now become a resident of the spiritual world simply from their sadhana. Okay. The second is nitya siddha. Now, what's the difference between nitya siddha and sadhana siddha? Nitya siddha never became conditioned soul. Sadhana siddhas were all of them conditioned souls. Okay, are you with me? All sadhana siddhas were before becoming siddhas, conditioned souls. Now they become perfected, therefore liberated souls, but on the strength of their sadhana. But nitya siddha never become conditioned soul. They remain perfected. Okay, so like remember the time when we said we want to go enjoy, then we become conditioned souls. Those who say, no, we want to stay in your service, Lord Krishna, they remain Nitya Siddhas. Everybody clear on that? Okay, and then it's Kripa Siddha. Kripa
Prabhu, can you
Siddha.
repeat once again, please?
Sorry,
Prabhuji, can you
Mataji,
please repeat it again?
yes.
Can you repeat the difference again, once again?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Prabhu, can you repeat it again?
Oh,
The
can I repeat?
Sadhana
Okay,
Siddha
sorry,
Nitya
yes. So, Nitya Siddha are those devotees who never became conditioned. They never fell in Maya. They never came to the material world because they wanted to enjoy or become the controller. So, they remained Nitya Siddhas, eternally perfect. The love of Krishna.
So they are like Nitya Suris, Prabhu?
I'm sorry?
Are they like Adisesha and Garuda and all those Nitya Suris?
Yeah, like Gopi is a perfect example. All the
Okay, Prabhu.
friends of Lord Krishna are a perfect example. Srila Prabhupada is a perfect example. Our acharyas, we talk about Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Saraswati Maharaj, Jagannath, they're all eternal servants of Krishna and eternally perfect. They've been requested to come here to deliver us, but they're Nitya Siddhas. Okay? But we are not conditioned, so the only hope we have, one of the only two hopes we have is one we call sadhana siddha. We do such good devotional service as a sadhaka that we achieve perfection, and then we achieve love of Krishna, and then we become liberated. Or the other possibility is become kripa siddha. Kripa siddha is the mercy of the Lord or Lord's pure devotee upon one of us. So we are not deserving, we've not become perfect yet. We may even be offensive in chanting, etc., etc. But because we receive that mercy, we become perfect. Then we're known as Kripasiddha. Okay. So now, why is Srila Prabhupada describing all that in this particular purport? He's trying to explain to us the mood of Krishnadas Kaviraj, who's saying that I don't deserve this because I have a qualification. I get this only because they are merciful. So mercy means you don't deserve it, but you still get it. That's the definition of mercy. So he's saying that Krishnadas Kaviraj feels he doesn't deserve it. But because he received the mercy of devotees and the Panchatattvas, now is able to write it. And he's comparing all that with the ability of a lame person to climb a mountain, a blind person to see the stars, and a dumb person, a mute person, to become a poet. Who's not writing, who's actually singing it. So all three are impossible things you would think. So Krishna is saying those three impossible things have become possible simply by the mercy of devotees and Panchatattvas. Is that clear?
Yep.
Okay, great. Text.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Pallavi Mataji, Hare Krishna. How are you?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm good. I don't know if this is the right question to ask, but are there any examples for sadhana siddhas?
Yeah, so many examples. We talk about pure devotees, some in ISKCON, some outside of ISKCON, who performed. So, for example, Surdas is an example, was a conditioned soul.
Okay.
Tulsidas is another one. Right? I mean, these are famous, devotees who were conditioned souls and became out of their sadhana. There were devotees who met Lord Chaitanya, and they had become perfected even before Lord Chaitanya gave them their mercy. So yeah, there are many, many examples of sadhana siddhas. And to be honest with you, we have only two hopes. Either we become Kripa Siddha, and that's considered like winning a lottery.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So therefore, the only hope we really have is becoming sadhana siddha. So that's why we try so much harder and keep trying.
I just wanted to, examples from. I'm sorry if this question was not appropriate.
Good question. Good question.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Sure. Okay. Text 6. ये सब न माने जय पंडित सकल तासा बार विद्या पाठे तरह के कोलाहल the education cultivated by so-called learned scholars who do not believe these statements of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is like the tumultuous croaking of frogs. Okay, so read the purport and then, actually it's a very short purport, I'll read it. The croakings of the frogs in rainy season resounds very loudly in the forest. The result that snakes, hearing the croaking in the darkness, approach the frogs and swallow them. Similarly, the so-called educational vibrations of the tongues of the university professors who do not have spiritual knowledge is like the croakings of frogs. So I don't know if any one of you have lived in villages, but in the old days when I was a child, I would go to my village, there'll be forest. And in the evening, all you would hear is either the croaking of the frogs or the क्या बोलते हैं उसको
Crickets.
जुगनू क्या बोलते हैं इंग्लिश में
Jugnu.
हाँ
Turtle.
not जुगनू
Jugnu is a
जुगनू
dark night.
anyway it's a little insect that makes
Firefly, Prabhu.
right
Which had lighting.
no that's जुगनू that's I'm not talking.
That is
The
Jugnu.
point is the frogs make so loud noise. But they, by making that sound, which is useless, it doesn't mean anything, they simply invite a snake who can then see in the dark where the sound is coming from and simply swallow the frog. So Prabhupada is saying, and Krishna's Kaviraj saying in that verse, is that the so-called scholars who don't believe what we just talked about in the first 5 verses is simply croaking like frogs. And that the time factor or the death in the form of snake comes and swallows them, and they do no good to themselves or to anybody else. Number 7. ये सब न माने जेबा हरे कृष्ण भक्ति करे कृष्ण भक्ति कृष्ण कृपा नाहि तारे नाहि तार गति. One who does not accept the glories of the Panchatattva but still makes a show of devotional service to Krishna can never achieve the mercy of Krishna or advance to the ultimate goal. So this is so clear. We don't serve Panchatattva. I serve Krishna only. Krishna says, I'm not accepting it. And you will never get the ultimate goal, which is love of Krishna. Okay, so clear. Okay, let's read the purport. Any volunteers?
I will read, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Okay. If one is seriously interested in Krishna conscious activities, he must be ready to follow the rules and regulations laid down by the acharyas, and he must understand their conclusions. The Shastras say that dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhyam mahajano ena gatena sa pantha. Mahabharata 1 Varna Parva 1313 177 117. It is very difficult to understand the secret of Krishna consciousness, but one who advances by the instruction of the previous acharyas and follows in the footsteps of predecessors in the line of reciprocal succession will have success. Others will not. Srila Narottam Das Thakur says in his connection, Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Peyeche Kebi. Unless one serves the spiritual master and acharyas, one cannot be liberated. Elsewhere it says, Yahi Chaya Gosai Yanra Muyi Tanra Dasa Tan Sabara Pada Renu Mora Panch Grasa. I simply accept a person who follows in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis and the dust of such a person's lotus feet is my food.
Right. Thank you, bro. So if one is seriously interested in Krishna consciousness, he must be willing or ready to follow the rules and regulations. But what rules and regulations? Those that have been established by the acharyas. Now, so a very wonderful verse has been quoted from Mahabharata, which is also already quoted by Lord Chaitanya in Madhya Lila, chapter 17, text 186. And the whole verse is Tarke Pratishtha, Tarke Pratishtha, Shutiyo Vibhinna, नासाव ऋषियस्य मतिर्न भिन्नम धर्मस्य तत्त्वं निहितं गुहायां महाजनाजेन gata sapantha. Lord Chaitanya is saying, actually, Yudhishthira Maharaj says that in Mahabharata. Lord Chaitanya is quoting it. He says, there's no use of useless, dry arguments because they're never conclusive. No use following the Vedas because each Veda has a different opinion, different conclusion. And no use following the rishis because you cannot be a famous rishi unless your opinion is different from everybody else's. So now imagine you participate in a tarka argument that doesn't lead anywhere. You study the Vedas, they give you different conclusions. You follow the rishis, they give you different opinions. What to do? And then it says, this particular verse says, dharmasya tattvam, the essence of religion, essence of service is hidden in the heart, nihitam guhayam, in the heart of whom? Mahajana, in the heart of the devotees. Therefore, Mahajanojan Gatasapanta. Therefore, we must follow in the footsteps of the pure devotees. Right? Because they only know the real essence of the religious principles. They only know the real principle of devotional service. Therefore, we should follow in the footsteps of the Mahajans. What's the word that is used in letter of instruction for that term? Following the footsteps of. Anybody remembers? Text 3, I can tell you that. Letter of instruction. Utsahat, Nishya, Dhairat, Tatat ka pravatnat. And then Sang Tyagat, Sato Vritte. Sato Vritte is following in the footsteps of pure devotees or the acharyas, predecessor acharyas. So this is what we said here. Therefore, the only way to know is to follow in the footsteps of the pure devotees. It's very difficult to understand otherwise what is Krishna consciousness, but when we follow the instructions of the previous acharyas, pure devotees, follow instructions and follow the footsteps, then we can have success in understanding Krishna consciousness. And that is why disciplic succession is very important. Disciplic succession means following the footsteps of previous acharyas and following the instructions. Everybody clear on that point? Yes, no?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So then he's quoting, Prabhupada's quoting a very wonderful, very famous bhajan by Narottam Das Thakur. Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yaduvaya Namah Yaduvaya Madhavaya.
Yadavaya, Madhavaya, Keshavaya, Namaha.
In that it says, Ichha Gosain Jar Tar Moi Das Tasabar Padarenu Mora Panchagras. So saying, I simply accept a person who follows in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis, and the dust of such a person's lotus feet is my food. I'm not eating rasgulla. I'm eating the dust of lotus feet of such a person. Right? And then later on the same bhajan, he says, Chhadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistar Paicheke. How will I have any kind of welfare, any kind of liberation, any kind of good thing happen to me? My kalyan. If I give up the service of a pure devotee. So again, these Panch Tattvas are considered, and the other devotees are considered pure devotees, or they're more than that, but they play the role of pure devotees, and therefore we must follow in the footsteps of these Panch Tattvas and follow their instructions. Clear? Okay. Then let's do number 8. It just gets better and better. पूर्वे जैसे जरासंध आदि राजगण वेद धर्म करे विष्णु पूजन. Formerly, kings like Jarasandha, the father-in-law of Kansa, strictly follow the Vedic rituals, thus worshipping Lord Vishnu. So let's see why he's bringing this up. Read the purport, please.
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please go ahead.
In these verses, the author of Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, is very seriously stressing the importance of worship of the Panch Tattva. If one becomes a devotee of God Sundara or Krishna, but does not give importance to the Panch Tattva, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. His activities are considered to be offenses, or in the words of Srila Rupa Goswami, Utpata disturbances. One must Utpata. One must therefore be ready to offer due respects to the Panchatattva before becoming a devotee of Lord Gaurachandra or of Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
So we don't worship and serve the Panchatattvas, and simply worshiping Krishna or Lord Chaitanya is actually going to be an offense. It's like the result won't be there. The result will be there, but negative result will be there. And Prabhupada, in his purport, is referring to another verse in that of devotion, very famous verse. It is Shruti Smriti Puranadi Panchratri ka vidhin bina ekantikir Krishnera bhakti utpat eva kalpata. If you don't follow the rules and regulations, one of which is this, then even if you're serving Krishna, it's simply disturbance to the society. So it's simply disturbance. Therefore, serving Krishna without serving the Panchatattvas does not do any good. Okay? Text 9. Krishna hi mane tate दैत्य करी मानी चैतन्य न माने पीछे चैत्य तारे जानी. Oh, sorry, दैत्य तारे जानी. One who does not accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is certainly a demon. Okay, I think we all agree with that. Similarly, anyone who does not accept Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna, the same Supreme Lord, is also to be considered demon. If you don't think Krishna is the Lord, if you don't think Lord Chaitanya is the Lord, same as Krishna, then you're a demon. I think can't get much clearer than that. So let's read the purport.
Can I read, Prabhu? Hare Krishna.
Shashikala Mataji, please go ahead.
Purport. Formerly, there were kings like Jarasandha who strictly followed the Vedic rituals, acted as charitable, competent Kshatriyas, possessed all Kshatriya qualities, and were even obedient to the Brahminical culture, but who did not accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jarasandha attacked Krishna many times, and each time, of course, he was defeated. Like Jarasandha, any man who performs Vedic rituals but does not accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered an asura or demon. Similarly, one who does not accept Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna himself is also a demon. This is the conclusion of authoritative scriptures. Therefore, both so-called devotion to Gaurasundara without devotional service to Krishna and so-called Krishna Bhakti without devotional service to Gaurasundara are non-devotional activities. If one wants to be successful on the path of Krishna consciousness, he must be thoroughly conscious of the personality of Gaurasundara as well as the personality of Krishna. Knowing the personality of Gaurasundara means knowing the personality of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, pursuant to the authorities, stresses this principle for perfection in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, this is so powerful. So a few points are being made in the purport here. One is somebody who's very pious, acts charitable, knows his varna well, he knows his ashram very well, and acts accordingly, possesses all the qualities of his ashram, and worships and obeys the Brahmins. Does all that. That sounds like people I meet sometimes among some of my old friends say, I'm a good person. I don't hurt anybody. I give in charity. I do fire sacrifice, and I mind my own business. So what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that is you're a demon. That's what's wrong with that. And that's what the purport is saying. Right? So Jarasandha example is given, I mean, you say, oh, the great king is a demon. Why? Because he does not accept the authority
Accept.
of Lord Krishna. Rather, he attacks Krishna. And these people attack Krishna
Yes.
also in different ways, not by arms, but verbally, by their attitude, etc., etc. Right? So he's saying the person like Jarasandha who performs Vedic rituals but does not accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is an Asura. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya, you don't accept him as God, you're an Asura. There is any doubt about what's being said here. And the other thing is, as a date of devotion, Rupa Goswami says, when you say Krishna, it doesn't just mean Krishna. So what does it mean then? Anybody? Rupa Goswami is saying, when you say Krishna, it doesn't mean just Krishna. What does it mean then?
Krishna along with all avatars, everybody.
Everybody.
Right?
And the devotees.
Yeah.
And the
And the
paraphernalia.
devotees, yes.
And the pastimes.
Yes.
And the places. Dham. Qualities. Everything. Name, fame, form, place, quality, pastime, everything. You say Krishna, it means all. The same thing we say Lord Chaitanya, it means Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vas Adi, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Everybody is included in that. So if you say, again, if you start saying, okay, fine, then I will go with the five. Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Lord Advaita Acharya, Shiva, Pandit, and Gadadhar Pandit. That's it. No. There's one step more. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. All the devotees of Lord Chaitanya also are included. So you got to worship them all. Otherwise, it's known as the Ardha Kukut Nyaya. What's Ardha Kukut Nyaya?
Half hen logic.
Bilkul. Half hen logic. The mouth eats, the tail gives you the eggs. So let's keep the tail, get rid of the mouth. It doesn't work. So don't think we can please Krishna and not please Lord Chaitanya. I don't think we can please Lord Chaitanya and not pleasing the other Panchatattvas or the devotees. Got it all. Okay. Shalini Mataji, thank you for your patience. Go ahead.
Prabhuji, like you said, this verse is really powerful.
Yeah.
Because majority of the people still know Krishna, but there is a very small, but majority of the people do not know anything about Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, and forget about Panch Tattvas. So that means they are demons. And when you look at that, then you start thinking, is it going to the extremes? So which is where I was getting a little confused, because when I came into Krishna conscious, I knew nothing about Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda.
So,
and people don't read Chaitanya Charitamrita at the start.
I have some good news for you, Mataji. Some really good news. You have transformed from a demon to a pure devotee.
I know, but I'm thinking of so many other people who are going onto the track of devotion to Krishna, not knowing that Lord Chaitanya also comes as part and parcel, and they are blissfully unaware of that.
That's the symptom of another devotee, which is compassion for other people who are more, who are less fortunate than you are. So I appreciate your compassion for them. But the fact is fact. Ignorance is not an excuse. So one day, by Krishna's mercy, they'll get to know Lord Chaitanya. And then by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, they'll become very devotee of Krishna. It'll happen.
So it's not an extreme statement here.
No. It's not. Nothing is extreme here. Nothing. Prabhupada did not talk in extreme terms. And Krishna's Kavira certainly did not. And how can somebody who's so humble, as we saw, can talk in terms of extremes?
Okay.
Thank
you, Prabhuji. It'll take me some time to process it. Thank you, though.
Sure. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You can do that. Okay. Nana?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, two questions. Actually, one question and one realization. Prabhu, Jarasandha is the same person in Mahabharata, right?
Right.
Who was killed by Bhima? Okay. At the time when Mahabharata is happening, Chaitanya Charitamrita was not in picture, Prabhu.
Correct.
So then how would Jarasandha know about it?
No. So once again, let's understand the intent of the statements, not take literally.
Hmm.
Yes, 500 years ago, nobody knew about Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, if they worship Krishna, it does not make them demon. So this statement is applicable now by Krishnadas Kaviraj after the appearance and the manifest pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. So it doesn't apply to Treta Yuga. In Treta Yuga, nobody worshipped Krishna either. They didn't worship Krishna. So let's be logical about the point. So the point is being made in the context of today, after the manifested pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Before that, nobody knew about Lord Chaitanya. How would it's like also like, for example, before what's his name? Madhavendra Puri, Srila Madhavendra Puri, nobody worshipped Radha and Krishna together. Now we say if you worship Radha and Krishna not together, then you don't have the same results. So does that mean people before was, condemned or doomed? No. So it's again, everything is as per the time, circumstance, etc. Now you have the knowledge, you still don't do it. Well, then there's a problem. So it's like Shalini was making the point. Even today, most people don't know. True.
Yes.
But the facility to know is there. Right?
People choose ignorance.
Exactly.
Gotcha. And the second realization was, Prabhu, this is absolutely true. People who don't know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are definitely not in the bhava of Das Anudas.
Right.
They're definitely thinking they're doing the personal service to Krishna, so they are very puffed up. And I was thinking about Daksha. He knew Vishnu exists, but he's doing it in so much raw and reverence, and there was no bhava of Das Anudas. I think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us to be polite and
That's right.
You not do something magic.
And Krishnadas Kaviraj is really teaching us how to be humble.
This is so beautiful.
Amazing. Yes, thank you for your realization. Appreciate that. Anyone else? I think there was one other hand, but then it went down. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I think it was you. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Me Prabhu, but partly it got cleared by Shalini Mataji's
Okay.
question. So just one thing to add to that, Prabhu. So at least Shalini Mataji was mentioning about those who know they know about Krishna and they're worshipping Krishna, but not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are so many others who still worship the demigods, Prabhu.
Right.
And in the mode of good, they're doing so much of charity and so many things. And of course, definitely they would be in the same category as demons, Prabhu.
That's correct. That's correct. Now, if you remember, I'm sorry, Mataji, go ahead, please.
So maybe they are ignorant, Prabhu. They don't even know the supremacy of the Supreme
Yes.
Personality of God. But that's not the reason, right?
Yes. So they're demons out of ignorance. The demons after knowing the truth, and still they want to act demonically. So, for example, in the 18th chapter, in one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada says very clearly that performing pious activities is actually a sinful activity. Why? Because pious activities take you away from Krishna. Right? What's the result of pious activities? You get good life, you get good education in the next life, with money, power, fame, beauty, all those things. They all take you away from Krishna. Or if you get really perfection, then you become demigod, which takes you even further away because you get so engrossed in sense enjoyment, you have no time for Krishna. Even though you're so-called devotee, you have no time for Krishna. Except when you're in trouble, then you go running to Brahmaji, takes you to Krishna. Right? So the point is that for most people who tell them pious activity means sinful activity, they don't understand that. But the point is, anything that's taking you away from Krishna is a sinful activity. Similarly, when you don't acknowledge him, that's demoniac activity. That's the extreme. It's demoniac activity. Right? And then the main point, the essence of this point here is that Lord Chaitanya is same as Krishna. Do not try to distinguish. Don't worship one at the cost of ignoring the other or insulting the other for that matter. And again, if you go to details, you know that Navadvip Dham is not different from Vrindavan Dham. Lord Chaitanya is not from Krishna, except Lord Chaitanya is even more merciful than Krishna. Well, those are the points.
So basically, Prabhuji, that means that we are conditioned to think it's my life, right? I do pious activities, not knowing that they are still done in that mode of selfishness. The mindset has to change to it's my life, but it's my life in the service of Krishna.
Yes. And this
So
is
that
why,
change of mindset is it's gonna take a lot of time, because our conditioning is so thick to get rid of that kind of thinking pattern.
right. And this is why, right in chapter 2, text 45, Krishna told Arjun to stop reading Vedas. Right? Because Vedas
Yeah.
take you towards sense gratification. Karma Kanda section of Vedas. And that's what misleads a lot of people. Okay. And second point is that transformation of the heart can only come from the association of a pure devotee. Because otherwise it's very hard.
Thank you, Prabhuji. My realizations come in your class, actually. Thank you.
Okay. Text 10. Oh, wonderful. Another wonderful verse. More na manle sab lok hoy pash. Oh, sorry, nash. Ithi lagi Kriparth Prabhu Karila Sannyas. I'm sorry, I'm difficult to read. Okay, translation. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thought, unless people accept me, they will all be destroyed. Thus the merciful Lord accepted the sannyas order. So now this is getting really strong. Unless this Lord Chaitanya is saying, unless people accept me, they will be destroyed. So this is the purport. This is really scary.
Hare Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can read. Prabhu.
Please go ahead, yes.
In Srimad Bhagavatam 12.3.51, it is said, Kirtanad evam eva Krishnasya mukta sangaha param vrajit. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra or Lord Krishna's name, one is liberated and goes back home, back to Godhead. This Krishna consciousness must be achieved through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One cannot be complete in Krishna consciousness unless he accepts Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates as the only means for success. It is because of these considerations that the Lord accepted sannyasa. For thus people would offer him respect and very quickly come to the platform of Krishna consciousness. Since Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, inaugurated the Krishna consciousness movement, without his mercy, one cannot be elevated to the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the verse quoted is a very famous verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually talks about Kalau dosh vidhe rajan asyeko mahanaguna. Kiti nade was Krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajit. So this age of Kali is an ocean of faults, of bad qualities, but has one great quality. Which is simply by chanting the name of holy name of Krishna, you become liberated and come back to God. But that movement of of chanting the name of Krishna was started by Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, to get the result of that, you must receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So you cannot receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya if you don't even acknowledge him. You don't even worship him. He's very merciful, but you got to do at least that much. Right? He's standing there with his hands raised saying, come to me. I'll give it to you for free, but come to me. If people don't want to come to him, well, there are other things we can talk about later on, Lord Nityananda's mercy, etc., etc. But the point is, by rejecting him, you cannot. So again, the point being made here is that just before Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, he had already been to Gaya, he'd become a devotee, but people were not being very respectful to him. He was a young person, and one time somebody made some comments because Lord Chaitanya was walking around saying, Gopi, Gopi, Gopi. And somebody said, why are you saying Gopi, Gopi, Gopi? You should be saying Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And clearly the person did not understand the mood of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya got very angry. He chased him. The man went running and he went to some friend's house and he hid himself. and complained to his friends. So they said, okay, if Chaitanya does that ever again, not Chaitanya, Nimai, ever does that again, we're going to beat him up. So Lord Chaitanya heard that. He said, these people are committing so many offenses. It's better that I take sannyas now, because the tradition is that people are very respectful to sannyasi. So that is why, to avoid people becoming offenders, Lord Chaitanya took sannyas. Okay. Okay, text 11. Sannyasi buddhe more ka karibe namaskar, tathapi khandibe dukha paibe vistar. If a person offers obeisances to me, even due to accepting me only as an ordinary sannyasi, his material distresses will diminish and he will ultimately get liberation. So this is mercy of Krishna, not Chaitanya. That at the worst, your material distress will be gone. At best, you'll get liberation. Simply by accepting me as his ordinary sannyasi. Or sorry, offering me obeisances. Okay, purport. Who wants to read that?
May I, Prabhu?
Yes, please go ahead.
Krishna is so merciful that he always thinks of how to liberate the conditioned souls from the material platform. It is for this reason that Krishna incarnates as clearly indicated in the Bhagavad Gita 4.7. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Krishna always protects the living entities in many ways. He comes himself, he sends his own confidential devotees, and he leaves behind him Shastras like the Bhagavad Gita. Why? It is so that people may take advantage of the benediction to be liberated from the clutches of Maya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyasa so that even a foolish person who accepted him as an ordinary sannyasi would offer him respect, for this would help diminish his material distresses and ultimately liberate him from the material clutches. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati points out in this connection that Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the combined form of Sri Radha and Krishna. Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. Therefore, when fools considered Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be an ordinary human being and thus treated him disrespectfully, the merciful Lord, in order to deliver these offenders, accepted sannyasa so that they would offer him obeisances, accepting him as a sannyasi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyasa to bestow his great mercy on people in general who cannot appreciate him as Radha and Krishna themselves.
Yeah.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
So this is the compassionate nature of the Lord that's being described here. So Prabhupada is explaining that, he comes as himself, as different incarnations, sends his own devotees, leaves behind scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, comes in Achar Vigraha form, so on and so forth. Keeps doing that out of his compassion. And this act of taking sannyas by Lord Chaitanya at the young age of 24, when he had a young wife of 16 years of age and an old mother who was a widow, leaving them all for the benefit of the people in general. That is the Lord's compassion. So in the case of Lord Chaitanya, showing that compassion, like one way showing the compassion is by becoming a sannyasi, because he knew that at that time at least people respected the sannyasi. So at least they will not be disrespectful to him and become entangled even more in the material world. But by getting the blessings of him, they'll at the very least, their material distress will be gone, and possibly they can get liberation from the clutches of the material world. Okay, text 12. Hen kripa maya chaitanya na bhaje jai jan sarvottam hoilev tare asure gaman. Sorry, yeah. Ganan, Asura Ganan. One who does not show respect unto this merciful Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or does not worship him should be considered a demon, even if he's very much exalted in human society. So your position in society is not the important thing. If you're not showing respect to Lord Chaitanya, not worshipping Lord Chaitanya, then you are a demon. Okay, let's do the purport.
May I read?
Yes, Mataji.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, who's reading? There was
Yeah.
another person.
Okay. Yes, purport. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj says, in this connection, O living entities, simply engage yourselves in Krishna consciousness. This is the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya preached this cult, instructing the philosophy of Krishna consciousness in his 8 verses of Shikshashtaka. And he said, Iha haite sarva siddhi haibe tomara verses, by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one will get all perfection in life. Therefore, one who does not show him respect or cannot appreciate his mercy, despite all these merciful gestures, is an asura or opponent of bona fide devotional service to Lord Vishnu, even though he may be very much exalted in human society. The word asura refers to one who is against devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vishnu. It should be noted that unless one worships Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is useless to become a devotee of Krishna, and unless one worships Krishna, it is also useless to become a devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Such devotional service is to be understood to be a product of Kali Yuga. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura remarks in this connection that atheists, smartas or worshippers of the 5 kinds of demigods worship Lord Vishnu for a little satisfaction in material success, but have no respect for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thinking him to be one of the ordinary living entities, they discriminate between Gaurasundara and Sri Krishna. Such understanding is also demoniac and is against the conclusion of the Acharyas. Such a conclusion is a product of Kali Yuga. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So again, the same point is being repeated in different words. Main point is in the age of Kali, the perfection can be achieved only by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, or you can say by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one will get perfection in life. And therefore, anybody who does not show respect to Krishna or Lord Chaitanya cannot get perfection. And by not worshipping Lord Chaitanya or Lord Krishna, you're simply acting like a demon. Okay.
Prabhuji, may I just ask a quick question?
Sure.
Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada refers to ISKCON or, this cult. Cult, doesn't it have a negative connotation?
Yes. So a lot of times cult does have a negative connotation. But when Prabhupada uses it, basically it means a group of people with particular message, a particular style, or particular philosophy. So he's using it in a positive sense. But you're right. A lot of times it has a negative connotation. And to be honest with you, most of the time it has a negative connotation. And ISKCON people would say, no, it's not a cult. It's a very old religion. But Prabhupada has sometimes used that in a positive sense. So you're right. Your observation is correct.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure.
So, Prabhu, when Mahaprabhu accepted sannyasa, he never insisted that his associates should be also sannyasas, right? They were all grihasthas, right, Prabhu?
Correct. That's correct. Most of his associates were grihasthas.
Okay.
And the one who wasn't, he made him grihastha, Lord Nityananda. So the longest time, Lord Nityananda was not a grihastha, and the latter part of his Lila,
Mm.
he sent him to Bengal to go get married. So who did he get married to? Anybody knows?
Janavi?
And
I don't know.
anybody? So the two sisters, Vasudha and Januva, or Janavi. So they were daughters of Gauridas, Suridas Pandit, brother of Gauridas. So like long past, but anyway. So yeah, my point simply was that one who was not married, prominent, he got him married. So yes, most of the associates of Lord Chaitanya were Grihasthas. Okay, text 13. अतएव पुनः कहें कूद बाहु होया चैतन्य नित्यानंद भजो कुतर्क छाड़िया. Beautiful. Therefore, I say again, lifting my arms, O fellow human beings, please worship Sri Chaitanya and Nityanand without false arguments. Stop being nonsense. Purport. Because a person who performs Krishna Bhakti but does not understand Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Prabhu Nityanand will simply waste his. Because a person who performs Krishna Bhakti but does not understand Sri Krishna Chaitanya, but does not understand Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityanand, will simply waste his time. The author Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami requests anyone to take to the worship of Sri Chaitanya and Nityanand Prabhu and the Panchatattva. He assures everyone that any person does so will be successful. So simply worship Lord Chaitanya and Nityanand and you will be successful in Krishna consciousness. The interesting thing is, if you worship Lord Ram, whose devotee do you become? If you worship Lord Ram,
Vishnu.
Huh?
Vishnu?
Huh?
Vishnu?
Huh?
Oh, sorry.
If you worship Lord Ram, whose devotee do you become?
Lord Ram.
Yeah, that's right. Not a trick question. You become
Very easy question to answer.
I know, that's right. So,
and I thought you could. I was
overthinking. Mataji was
yeah,
overthinking.
overthinking, that's right. So, similarly, if you worship Lord Nrsimhadev, whose devotee do you become?
Nrsimhadev.
Huh? Sorry?
Great. If
Lord
we worship,
Nrsimhadev.
we are the devotee of Krishna in that form.
No, Mataji, don't try to complicate it. It's a simple question. You worship Lord Nrsimhadev, whose devotee do you become?
Lord Nrsimha.
Lord Nrsimha, thank you. If you
Yeah.
worship Lord Krishna, whose devotee do you become?
Krishna.
Krishna, thank you.
Krishna.
If you worship Lord Chaitanya, whose devotee do you become?
Lord Krishna.
Krishna, that's right. That's the point.
Yeah.
Everybody with me?
Prabhuji, I'm still having a hard time understanding this. Okay,
Yeah.
when you read the Bhagavad Gita, if somebody has not reached the level of Chaitanya Charitamrita, is reading Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying all throughout Bhagavad Gita, bhajatam kirtayan tomam, satatam kirtayan tomam, just do my devotional service constantly, keep your mind in me, and you will attain me. So when you read Chaitanya Charit and when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, again, all the devotion is around Krishna. Now Chaitanya Charitamrita is saying you should be devoted to Lord Chaitanya, otherwise your Krishna devotion is incomplete. So isn't that unfair to the people who are just reading Bhagavad Gita? Because that's supposed to be also a complete scripture in itself.
I think that's a very valid point. Very good question and very valid point. So let's try to understand the apparent discrepancy. So as I was saying, you worship Lord Krishna, you become Krishna devotee. Krishna is saying, Sitatam Kirtiyanto Mam or Manmana Bhav Madhatto or Sardhaman Paitache Mam. All that is saying, become my devotee. And perfectly all right. You become his devotee. What Chaitanya is saying is that there's no difference between Lord Chaitanya and Lord Krishna. So anybody think I can ignore Lord Chaitanya, just worship Krishna, that's incorrect. Not knowing about him is not same as ignoring him. Okay, so that's one point, and that's why we were talking earlier that before Lord Chaitanya appeared, his manifest pastimes, we did not worship him. That nothing wrong with that. We don't know about him, right? Now we're talking about the last 500 years.
Mhm.
Okay, now Lord Chaitanya has appeared. His pastimes are manifest. Now somebody's only reading Gita. Is he doing something wrong?
Mhm.
No, he's not doing anything wrong.
Mhm.
Okay. But if somebody's saying, I'm not going to worship Lord Chaitanya, I'm just going to worship Lord Krishna, that is wrong.
I see. Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Deliberately ignoring.
Deliberately ignoring,
I have a
simply saying
question.
he doesn't matter, he's not Krishna, and why should I serve him? I'm Krishna's servant, I'm not going to serve Lord Chaitanya. That is wrong.
Yeah.
Provided that, Prabhu, if they know Lord Chaitanya and then they
That's
are
what we're saying.
saying,
That is what we're saying.
but if they don't know, because other than the ISKCON, we ISKCONian devotees, other than that, nobody knows the Lord
That
Chaitanya
is true.
Mahaprabhu.
However, also
So if they
remember,
don't know and they don't worship, they are not, they are ignorant, but they are not offending.
correct. That's I agree. But also remember, what does Krishna say? Krishna says, Sarv Dhaman Parityajya. Mam ekam sharanam braj. What does it mean? And then the second line says, Aham tvam sal papebhyo mokshishami mashisha. What does that verse mean? You tell me in your words. What does it mean?
Come to my, abandon all the variety of religion and come to my protection.
And then what will I do?
Surrender and come.
What does he
I
say?
will
What will I do?
protect you.
Okay, that's
I
it.
will protect you.
That's it. Right? That's what he's saying. Okay, I agree. He adds a little bit more, says, I'll get rid of your sinful reactions. I'll protect you from your sinful reactions. Right? That's what he's saying.
Mm.
Is that all you want from worshiping Krishna? What's the ultimate goal? Get rid of your sinful activities, sinful reactions? Is that the goal? Well, then 1866 cannot be the goal.
Goal is to serve Krishna.
Please him, to serve him.
It's even more than that. The goal is to develop love for Krishna. So now let us see in that sequence. The Gita Bhagavad ends by saying, surrender to me, giving up all other varieties of religion. So what is that? Religion means duties. The social duties, varnashram duties, all the other, family duties, all this, give them all up. Demigod worship duties, all that you give them up. All other different forms, give them all up. Just surrender to me. Right? And then I will take care of your sinful reactions. But that cannot be the end. So then comes Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam tells us what happens when you have surrendered. Because Bhagavatam is all about, it's 90% about the pure devotees of the Lord who have surrendered to Him. Right? 10% is about the Lord. You agree with me? Now, how does Bhagavatam end? It ends by saying, Nam Sankirtanam Yasya. Right? Whose holy name gets rid of all sinful deeds. Let's talk about chant the holy name. That's how Bhagavatam ends. How does Chaitanya Charitamrita begin? Chant the holy name of the Lord.
Chant the holy names.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where Chaitanya Charitamrita comes in, to get the full picture. Otherwise, go ahead and serve Krishna and worry about the offenses and all those kind of things and get your sinful reactions moved. Fine. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to go to Lord Chaitanya. You continue worshipping him in a pure way, you will get the love of Krishna. I'm not saying you won't get that, but so much harder. So if you don't know Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, this is so much harder, but you can do it. But if you know Lord Chaitanya, say, I don't need to serve him, I serve simply Lord Krishna, that is demoniac. So does that make it more clear?
Yes. Yes, Prabhu. And majority people have not read Bhagavatam.
Correct.
Majority have read Bhagavad Gita. But in Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not mentioned.
Well, he's not there at that time. That's not manifest
Yeah,
possible.
he wasn't there at that time. So that's why people don't know him.
I know that. But now what's your
Even they know Kalki who has not come yet.
Kalki is not
But
mentioned in Gita. Kalki is not mentioned in Gita.
I know, but I don't know how we know.
Well,
I don't know
that's
how.
folklore. That's what happens. Folklore. लोग गीत बन गए, लोग बातें हो गई, शुरू हो गई, all that.
YouTube tells them.
Yeah, YouTube tells them. But that doesn't excuse. It does not change the facts.
But then what is it? Kalki is gonna come, right?
Yeah, but
Kalki avatar.
427,000 years from now. In the meantime, what are you going to do? Okay.
So, Prabhuji, that means.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was saying, so that means that we should have deities of Gauranathai definitely to serve more so than even Radha Krishna.
Correct. That is correct. In the age of Kali, a lot of people tell you that instead of putting Radha Krishna deities in your house, put Gauranathai deities. Because we are so sinful, we are so offensive, Lord Chaitanya forgives them all. Lord Krishna does not forgive.
Yeah.
So yes.
And the other thing is for people who don't know about Lord Chaitanya, actually, if they come to the temple, they see the deities of Gauranathai, so they could ask questions and they could be curious and find out more and learn more, right?
Yes, correct.
And if they still don't do, that's ignorance. That's
blatant. In my mind, the problem is we do not talk enough about Lord Chaitanya in the Sunday feast classes. That's the problem.
Correct. Yes.
No, and I'll be honest with you. Growing up, I knew a lot less about Krishna than about Lord Chaitanya, because in my family, we only talked about Lord Chaitanya. We read Chaitanya Bhagavat, we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, we read Chaitanya Mangal, but not Bhagavad Gita.
Wow.
And my grandfather was a direct associate with Bhakti Saraswati Maharaj. That's what he learned.
Mm-hmm. That's the way it should be then.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Shashikala Mataji, thank you for your patience. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. One speculation I have regarding this, I'm not sure if I can think in that way. Now, the context is that if we're reading Bhagavad Gita, then how can I be introduced to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So in Bhagavad Gita, even though Lord Krishna says, become my devotee, the essence is that actually the devotee of my devotee is my devotee. And then once we are like deep into the studies of scriptures, then we are understanding, okay, I have to become a servant of servant of servant. Then we get into the research of who is the most best servant of Lord Krishna. And then all the other Sampradaya people, Shri Sampradaya, they all know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they admit. So because they know that we are the servant of servant, and they know who is the best servant of Lord Krishna, and they admit. So I was thinking this way. I'm not sure if this makes sense.
No, yeah, it does.
Who is the best servant?
It's just that if nobody tells you that, you will not know. So somebody has to tell you that, like, look, this is what it really means.
Yeah.
And then you're okay.
Yes.
Otherwise, on your own, you would not.
Right. Yes, Prabhu. Through that research, we would somehow come to in the association of devotees and.
Yes.
Thank you,
Prabhu. I have a question, Prabhu.
So let her finish.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Can I say, Prabhu? So, Prabhuji, why at ISKCON we always read Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, though Chaitanya Charitamrita it's been said if we read these two scriptures is enough. We don't need to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. If they are not able to read it, it's okay. So why it is like this, Prabhu? Though when you think it's so important.
But then you missed a lot of points. Chaitanya Charitamrita is a little harder to understand. There's no question about it. So not everybody reaches that level. Because remember, people don't like to read in these days. Even getting to read Bhagavad Gita is a challenge. Right? They tell them, no, now you read Bhagavatam. Oh my God. It's like, I know some people whose spiritual master said, If you don't finish Bhagavatam, no second initiation for them. It takes them 5 years. And only when the desire to get second initiation becomes so strong, they start reading Bhagavatam. Otherwise, they don't want to read it. So forget Chaitanya Charitamrita.
So can't we read the Chaitanya Charitamrita before Bhagavatam, Prabhuji?
You can. It's not that you cannot. It's just a lot of principles are made very clear in Bhagavatam. It's like, for example, somebody could potentially do a PhD without doing high school. But it's rare. You need to go high school to get the principles. You need to go to university, bachelor's, then master's before you do PhD, because you need that maturity, that clarity of the concepts, the principles, and then it's easier to understand.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, today I was trying to get a new pair of glasses, and the person who was helping me kept throwing these jargons or DRO this and something like that, and the corridor length should be. I'm saying, you're talking nonsense because I don't understand any of these terms. But to her, it was natural. It's like even in ISKCON, we're guilty of using jargon to the people. Conditioned source will do that, then Maya will do that, then most of material nature will take over. And to the people from outside, these words don't mean anything. But we use them as if just saying A, B, C, D, and C and D. So that's the point. If you want to understand everything, then you need to read the books before that. But it's not that you cannot understand anything. You understand something.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So let's do text number 12, then we'll stop. Sahi kripa maya chaitanya na bhaje jai jan sarvottam hoile utare asuresha ganan. One who does not show respect unto this merciful Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or does not worship him, should be considered a demon, even if he's very much exalted. Did you already read that?
I think so, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, we were supposed to do text 14.
We were on 13.
13,
We
okay.
read it
13
already.
also taken.
13. So 14.
Now we will start 14.
Okay, 14. Okay. यदि वह तार्किक कहे तर्क से प्रमाण, तर्क शास्त्र सिद्ध हो जय सही से विमान. Logicians say, unless one gains understanding through logic and argument, how can one decide upon a worshipable deity? Okay, that's what will be whole new discussion. So we'll stop here and I'll take it from text 15 next week. But let's just repeat the translation of text 14. Logicians say, unless one gains understanding through logic and argument, how can one decide upon a worshipable deity? Just tell me what's wrong with that logic. We won't go to details here, text 15. Just by reading 14, what's wrong with that logic?
Prabhuji, they are basically the Gyanis, right?
Sorry?
They are Gyanis.
Gyanis, okay. What
Yeah, and all those things, Shastras, they are talking about that.
Yeah, but okay, so Gyani, what's wrong with the Gyanis? I'm saying, if you don't understand through logic and argument, how can you decide upon a worshipable deity?
Yeah, so the conclusion, if they come to, the Gyanis come to the understanding of deities, then it's okay. Otherwise, they will remain there, right? I was thinking of that.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, is it mental speculation?
Mental speculation. You're trying to understand by your own mental power. That is not capable of understanding something that's spiritual. So therefore, the logic has to come from the mercy of the Lord, not from your own power. So anyway, we'll talk about this more detail next week. Any other questions or comments before we stop? 9:28 already. Okay. All right, then. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Prabhu. Thank you.
So much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, thank you
Hare
so
Krishna.
much.
Thank you.
Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very
Krishna
much.
Prabhu, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.